In the quiet tapestry of rural life, where the rhythm of the seasons dictates destiny and the struggle for sustenance is a daily companion, moments of profound human drama unfold with an intensity often overlooked by the bustling world beyond. It is here, amidst the verdant fields and humble abodes, that we find ourselves at the precipice of a choice, a visceral tug between the dictates of the heart and the cold logic of the mind. This isn't merely a personal dilemma, it is a universal echo of the human condition, amplified by economic pressures and the intricate, often painful, bonds of family. Our journey begins not with a grand pronouncement, but with a simple, almost whimsical image, a magical box from Doraemon. Do you see what this picture is? Doraemon is right, this box is really magical. The voice exclaims, hinting at an innocent world of childhood wonder. This brief, almost fleeting glimpse of joy is Nhees, a young girl, whose tender age belies the storm brewing around her. Miss Diep, a woman etched by the sun and toil, blows gently on a piece of food for Nhee, a small, tender gesture of care. Just heat a small piece, it won't burn. It's a snapshot of nurturing, of a fleeting, fragile peace before the encroaching shadows of adult complexities. This opening, seemingly benign, sets a stark contrast against the harsh realities that are about to crash upon this quiet existence, foreshadowing the difficult choices that will demand profound sacrifices, pushing individuals to their emotional and ethical limits. From this scene of domestic tenderness, the narrative shifts abruptly, plunging us into the unforgiving world of commerce, where every penny is meticulously counted, and survival often hangs on razor-thin margins. Miss Diep, her demeanor now sharpened by the exigencies of trade, engages in a tense negotiation. The subject, corn. How much do you normally sell it for? Can you see how much this corn cost you? She presses, her voice carrying the weight of a livelihood. The buyer, a man named Diep, inspects the produce, his eyes calculating the intrinsic value against market fluctuations. This isn't just about a transaction, it's a battle of wills, a delicate dance between supply and demand that dictates the very fabric of daily life in these close-knit communities. For small farmers and vendors, every deal is a crucial victory or a disheartening setback. Global commodity prices, often determined in distant financial hubs, cast long shadows even over these local exchanges, creating a volatile environment where a slight miscalculation can mean the difference between making ends meet and falling further behind. The price, 63,000 VND, floats in the air, a number that symbolizes weeks of backbreaking labor, the unpredictable whims of nature, and the relentless pressure to provide. Duc, ever the shrewd negotiator, holds his ground. 63,000 VND? It must be 65,000 VND for me to be able to sell this place. His words reveal the precarious balance of the supply chain, the need for a margin, however small, to justify his own efforts and cover his operational costs. Miss Diep, despite her desire for a higher price, knows the realities of the market. The corn is dry, a condition that might deter other buyers. The market price is around 63,000 VND, but I think this corn is very dry. Her assessment is pragmatic, acknowledging the imperfections while subtly leveraging her product's intrinsic quality. It's a silent recognition of shared struggle, an understanding that both buyer and seller navigate the unpredictable currents of a local economy, where relationships and trust often hold as much currency as actual cash. This isn't just a sale, it's an affirmation of economic resilience in the face of persistent adversity. The negotiation, a microcosm of countless such interactions across the agrarian landscape, finally yields a compromise. Duc relents, acknowledging the unspoken bond that often forms between regular traders. Okay, then why? Let me have 65,000 VND. If you get more next time, you let me buy it. I'll buy it for 65,000 VND. Consider it as our first time meeting each other, okay? This agreement, slightly above the prevailing market rate, is a symbolic gesture, a handshake across the invisible divide of buyer and seller, establishing a foundation for future commerce. It's a testament to the enduring power of community, where personal connections often soften the sharp edges of pure capitalism, recognizing the long-term benefits of mutual support over short-term gains. In a world increasingly dominated by impersonal supply chains, these microeconomies thrive on trust and established relationships, ensuring a degree of stability in an otherwise volatile environment. Yet, as the ink dries on this quiet understanding, the narrative takes a sharp, devastating turn. The everyday concerns of commerce abruptly shatter against a deeply personal, heart-wrenching crisis. The conversation abruptly shifts, shattering the fragile peace, ripping through the mundane with the force of an emotional earthquake. The question, delivered with a raw, desperate edge, slices through the air: where are you going? You go back to your biological parents, you're not here anymore. How many years have you lived with your father? Are you not living with your father anymore? These aren't just words, they are the guttural cries of a soul in anguish, a voice trembling on the precipice of profound loss. The father figure, unnamed but instantly defined by his desperate plea, confronts Nhi, the young girl whose brief moment of simple joy with the magical box now feels like a distant memory. His pain is palpable, a wound laid bare for all to witness. The girl's response, though unspoken in the transcript, is implied in the father's subsequent, choked-up outburst: "No. I'm not your biological father. My child, I've raised you for so many years. You're not living with your father anymore." The raw agony in his voice is unmistakable. This isn't just a father losing a child, it's a caregiver, a nurturer, facing the brutal truth that years of unconditional love and sacrifice might be rendered secondary to the immutable claim of blood. It's a societal dilemma, a primal conflict between the bonds forged by shared life and the inherent connection of genetics. The emotional weight of this moment transcends the immediate family, touching upon universal themes of parenthood, sacrifice, and the often cruel realities of fate. For years, he has been father in every meaningful sense, offering shelter, food, and the immeasurable warmth of a home. Now, that foundational truth is being questioned, threatened by a force beyond his control. The father then reveals the full scope of his anguish, his words a testament to the profound, unspoken sacrifices of informal adoption. "No, even though your father raised you, I'm not your biological father. My child, don't go. What's going on? I picked up the girl to raise. I don't know who her parents are. I heard that her biological parents were found, so she doesn't want to live with me anymore. All the effort in raising her is considered lost." His voice cracks with a mixture of disbelief and desolation. The raw injustice of it, the feeling that his years of dedication, his tireless efforts, are simply being erased, is a pain that sears deeper than any physical wound. This is the tragic core of the narrative, the profound emotional investment in a child, only to face the agonizing prospect of their departure due to circumstances beyond anyone's control. This situation is not unique to this quiet village, it echoes in countless communities where informal care arrangements are vital but legally tenuous. In many developing regions, children are often taken in by relatives or kind strangers due to poverty, illness, or abandonment. These arrangements, born of compassion, often lack formal legal recognition, leaving both caregivers and children vulnerable. When biological parents reappear, sometimes after years of absence, the societal pressure to acknowledge blood ties can be immense, often overriding the deep emotional bonds that have been painstakingly built. For this man, the legal distinction between biological and raised is a cruel, abstract concept that is tearing his world apart. The bureaucratic machinery of identification and reunification, while often well-intentioned, can fail to fully account for the intricate, often messy, emotional realities of human relationships. Ms. Diep listens, a silent witness to a heartbreak that transcends words. Her response, when it comes, is laced with a practical wisdom born of life's hard lessons. I don't know how she is. She left in a hurry without asking a question. I think that when she grows up like this, she must realize that I spent so much effort raising her to grow up like this. I'm also her biological father. I don't know what to do. The girl also wants to live with her biological father. Well, that's my family's business. I don't know how to advise you. Let's just let her decide for herself. If it realizes that I've helped it and it comes back here, I'll still accept it. But if it doesn't realize that and it leaves me like that, then consider it a good job. Her words, while seemingly detached, carry a profound weight of empathy and an understanding of the painful realities of choice. She recognizes the immense emotional labor invested, the effort in raising her, and the inherent, almost paternal, connection the father feels. Yet, she also understands the immutable pull of biological parentage, a force often deemed paramount in societal structures. Her advice, let her decide for herself, is a poignant acknowledgement of the child's burgeoning autonomy, even in such a heartbreaking situation. It's an act of profound, agonizing love, to let go, to allow the other to choose, even if that choice means deep personal pain. This isn't about giving up, it's about acknowledging a reality that cannot be fought with reason or emotion alone. It's a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, a quiet acceptance of life's unpredictable trajectory, and the hope that, perhaps, genuine care will ultimately find its way back. The phrase "consider it a good job" is not a dismissal of his suffering, but a gentle reminder of the nobility of his efforts, an encouragement to find solace in the pure intention of his love, irrespective of the outcome. It is a philosophy that resonates deeply in communities where acts of unsolicited kindness often form the bedrock of social cohesion. Amidst this personal devastation, the stark realities of survival resurface, almost jarringly. Diep, just leave your family matters aside. Look at my corn. I've already decided on 65,000 VND. Can you help me bag it this afternoon? I'll weigh the truck and take it away. The shift is abrupt, a testament to the brutal truth that life, and its relentless demands, waits for no one's grief. Ms. Diep, a pillar of pragmatism, gently steers Diep back to the business at hand. The corn, the negotiation, the very act of bagging and weighing, serves as a grounding force, a necessary distraction from the overwhelming emotional turmoil. It's a mechanism for coping, a way to channel sorrow into productivity, to ensure that the fabric of daily life, however frayed, does not completely unravel. Diep, understanding the unspoken need for continuity, responds with a quiet affirmation of support. Yes, I'll call more people. When it's time for you to come, you can unpack it, but for the next batch, just leave it all for me. Yes, I'll buy it at that price so that we can be together for a long time. His words are not just about business, they are a subtle offer of solidarity, a promise of ongoing support in a time of unspoken duress. Be together for a long time transcends a mere commercial agreement, suggesting a deeper, more enduring connection, a recognition of shared humanity in the face of life's unpredictable currents. In these close-knit communities, economic transactions are often intertwined with social relationships, forming a safety net where mutual reliance becomes a cornerstone of survival. As the corn deal solidifies, a poignant reminder of he re-enters the conversation, momentarily pulling Ms. Diep and Diep from their practical concerns back into the emotional vortex. Yes, we really love Nhi very much. Deep down in our hearts, Nhi is like our own child. This raw confession reveals the depth of their collective affection, the way Nhi had woven herself into the very fabric of their lives, not just for the father figure, but for the entire community. It highlights the collective responsibility and love often extended to children in these villages, where the welfare of one is often considered the welfare of all. The pain of her potential departure is not confined to one household, it reverberates through the quiet empathy of those who have witnessed her growth, her laughter, her simple presence. Just as the emotional weight threatens to overwhelm, a new figure enters the scene, a beacon of different energy, Uncle James. Oh, Uncle James. Wow, you have such a pretty bag. His arrival, marked by a bright, cheerful observation directed at Nhi, provides a momentary shift in atmosphere, a gentle reprieve. He sees the child, not just the impending drama, and offers a simple compliment that brings a fleeting smile. It's a reminder of childhood's enduring innocence, a brief interlude before the adult world reasserts its complex demands. Nhi's small, pretty bag is a symbol of her world, still filled with simple joys and small treasures, even as the tectonic plates of her family life shift beneath her feet. James's interaction underscores the multifaceted nature of community, where personal sorrows are often navigated alongside the everyday interactions that sustain the collective spirit. The emotional landscape, still raw from the impending departure of Nhi, slowly begins to shift, though the echoes of loss linger beneath the surface. With the corn negotiations concluded, attention turns to the immediate tasks at hand, a coping mechanism for the raw grief that still threatens to consume. Miss Diep, ever the pragmatist, directs Duke, "Yes, let me just decide on that. Yes, in the afternoon, just help me bag it. In the afternoon, I'll find a few more people. If you can, call me." The urgency in her voice is not just about fulfilling an order, it's about maintaining momentum, about channeling emotional energy into productive action. This resilience, born from necessity, is a hallmark of those who live close to the land, where the rhythms of agriculture dictate a constant forward movement, regardless of personal trials. The community's response, the promise of extra hands, reflects a deeply ingrained spirit of mutual aid, a social safety net woven through decades of shared hardship and collective endeavor. In these rural settings, where formal social welfare structures are often absent or insufficient, informal networks of support become paramount, offering a lifeline in times of crisis. James, a man of quiet determination and practical intent, also announces his departure, but not before subtly hinting at a deeper connection or perhaps an unspoken plan. "Let my brother go home. Yes, hello, I'll probably leave this tree here." The mention of a tree is brief, almost an afterthought, yet it suggests a planting, a rooting, a future vision that is beginning to take shape. It's a small detail, but in the context of a community grappling with loss and uncertainty, any act of planting represents hope, a symbolic gesture towards growth and new beginnings. He promises a money transfer later, a modern convenience bridging traditional commerce, illustrating the nuanced blend of old and new in these evolving societies. "Thank you. I'll transfer money to the old account number later." "Yes, you see. And leave it like that because I'll do it now. So, you should go home." The exchange, while concise, speaks volumes about established trust and ongoing collaborative efforts, suggesting that James is already an integral part of Miss Diep's burgeoning ventures. The immediate concern, however, remains Nhi. The father's earlier agony resonates, a haunting question mark over the child's whereabouts. "Yes, I don't know where she went. If I had taken Nhi to school, I would have been home by now." The past tense, "if I had taken Nhi to school," is a gut-wrenching admission of a broken routine, a severed connection. It implies that Nhi is now being cared for by someone else, perhaps her biological parents, and the father is left adrift, his role abruptly curtailed. The mundane act of picking a child up from school, once a source of comfort and purpose, has become a stark reminder of his profound loss. This simple lament encapsulates the lingering pain, the sudden void left in the wake of her departure, and the slow, agonizing process of adjustment that must now begin. For him, the world has shifted irrevocably, leading him to navigate a landscape devoid of the child he nurtured for so long. Days pass, or perhaps only hours, but the internal clock of grief and resilience moves at its own pace. James reappears, his presence a steady anchor amidst the emotional turbulence. "James, have you been here for long?" "I just arrived." Ms. Diep greets him, her question perhaps a reflection of her own preoccupation, her mind still grappling with the recent past. James, ever focused on the future, quickly outlines his purpose. "What are you going to do?" "I bought some vegetable seeds to plant." His words carry the weight of new beginnings, a practical response to the deep-seated human need for growth and sustenance. The act of planting seeds, a primal gesture of hope, stands in stark contrast to the barren emotional landscape left by Nhi's departure. It is a quiet act of defiance against despair, a reaffirmation of life's continuity. Ms. Diep, however, expresses a subtle concern, a hint of the practical challenges they face. "Were you busy with something the past few days? I couldn't get through to you." This brief inquiry hints at a nascent partnership, a reliance on James's presence and input. His reply is brief, pragmatic: "You were a bit busy the past few days, so I brought the gardening tools up." "Yes, today we'll start fencing the garden." The emphasis on fencing the garden is significant. It's an act of demarcation, of protection, of creating a defined space for cultivation. In a world where boundaries can be fluid and vulnerable, fencing represents order, security, and a commitment to nurturing what they plant. This isn't merely about protecting vegetables from chickens, it's a symbolic act of building a new foundation, a secure environment in which new life can flourish, perhaps even an unconscious effort to re-establish a sense of control after the emotional chaos. As they begin their work, Ms. Diep voices another practical concern. "My skin is dry, so it's peeling off." "It's okay. Come in and have some water. Let me open the door." Her physical discomfort is a testament to the harsh realities of manual labor, but her immediate invitation for James to rest and hydrate speaks volumes about their emerging partnership, one built on mutual care and understanding. The small acts of consideration, the shared moments of respite, are the threads that weave together the fabric of their collaboration. As they enter her home, James brings in more materials. "What do I need this straw for?" "I brought these tables and chairs home to burn as fertilizer for vegetables. Why don't I leave them out here?" "It's just a habit." His practical approach, turning old furniture into sustenance for new crops, embodies the circular economy of rural life, where nothing is wasted, and every resource is repurposed. It's an efficient, sustainable approach, reflecting a deep connection to the land and an understanding of its regenerative cycles. The prior day's busyness, however, still weighs on Ms. Diep's mind. "What were you busy with yesterday?" "I called but I couldn't get through." She reiterates her earlier concern, perhaps indicating a growing reliance on James, a desire for clearer communication in their burgeoning joint ventures. James clarifies, unveiling a new layer of their strategic planning. "Yesterday I was a little busy. Have you brought the fence up here for a long time?" "I just brought it up here. But the day before yesterday I already paid the deposit for the rental place, now I'm just waiting for the nameplate and everything to arrive. Let's hang it up. We'll start the business." This revelation is a significant pivot. The rental place, the nameplate, start the business, these phrases speak to a larger ambition beyond just a garden. This isn't merely about planting vegetables for personal consumption, it's about establishing a formal enterprise, expanding their economic footprint, and building a more secure future. In many developing economies, Micro-businesses like this are the backbone of local prosperity, offering avenues for economic empowerment and community development. The challenges are numerous: securing capital, navigating regulations, finding reliable suppliers and customers, but the potential for growth and self-sufficiency is a powerful motivator. This entrepreneurial spirit, often born out of necessity, represents a strategic move from mere survival to proactive prosperity, a testament to their foresight and drive. The act of paying a deposit, of waiting for a nameplate, symbolizes a tangible commitment to their shared vision, a step towards formalizing their aspirations. Amidst, a blend of excitement and pragmatism, responds to this news, grounding the larger ambition in the immediate, tangible work. What does it mean to start the business? I'm just staying at home today, but yes, I'll go pick up Nhi in a bit. We'll probably start now because I'm also afraid it'll be late at night. Her concern for Nhi, though understated, is still present, weaving through the practicalities of business. The decision to start now with the fencing underscores the urgency of their mission, a determination to maximize daylight hours, a common constraint in rural labor. The conversation then returns to the specifics of the garden fence, the practical details of their immediate task. Yes, how do you want to fence it? Raising chickens and ducks will help it get into our house, and this place. So this place over here, I'm thinking of blocking off a space to make a bathroom, and inside Kia is where the chicken coop will be. This detailed planning reveals a holistic vision for their property: a fenced garden, a new bathroom, a chicken coop. It's not just about growing food, it's about creating a functional, productive, and comfortable living and working environment. The presence of chickens and ducks, both for eggs and meat, signifies a move towards greater self-sufficiency and diversification of income. This integrated approach to small-scale farming and living is a hallmark of sustainable rural development, maximizing resources and minimizing waste. The strategic placement of facilities, the careful consideration of space, all speak to a thoughtful approach to their new enterprise, where every element serves a practical purpose. This planning, meticulously detailing the construction, represents not just physical labor, but the strategic mind at work, meticulously crafting a blueprint for their future. The discussion continues, outlining the precise boundaries of their new endeavors. No, do you mean we'll fence it all the way to Kia, or do we have to fence it all the way to your yard? I think it's only here. From here, we'll block it back here, and I'll dig here. Right? Yes, let's make it straight. I think we should throw this pile down because we don't know, and we'll be able to burn it. Shall we dig here? Yes, this is also borrowed land for me to dig out for easier digging. The precise mapping of their efforts, the determination of boundaries, and the practical considerations of debris disposal, throw this pile down, illustrate the methodical nature of their work. The mention of borrowed land is significant, hinting at a community where resources are shared, where neighbors assist neighbors, forming a resilient network of mutual support. This collaboration, even in the smallest details, is a powerful engine for progress in resource-constrained environments, turning collective goodwill into tangible development. The hard physical labor begins. Digging post holes is strenuous, demanding immense strength and persistence. Do we need to dig deep? I think the concrete column must be deep. James's question underscores the importance of foundational strength, a metaphor for the stability they are trying to build in their lives. The depth of the concrete column is not just an engineering requirement, it's a commitment to permanence, to creating something that will endure. Ms. Diep, ever practical, shifts the focus slightly, recognizing the multifaceted nature of their tasks. Have you brought the vegetables back? I'll go plant the vegetables. Let me do it. Let me do it quickly. Yes, you go plant the vegetables and let me do it. Let me do it. You go plant the vegetables. Her insistence on handling the planting herself, or at least dividing the labor efficiently, highlights her ownership and dedication to the garden. It's a shared vision, but with a clear division of labor, each contributing their unique strengths. The work is relentless, physical, demanding. You go plant the vegetables. Yes, I'll go plant the vegetables. Do each column need to be too far apart? I don't think so. Drink some water. The back and forth between James and Miss Diep, even amidst the toil, underscores their collaborative spirit. The simple reminder to drink some water speaks volumes about their mutual care, a small but essential gesture of human connection amidst the grind. The physical challenges are palpable. There are rocks here. This is our house. If we work together, it will be more beautiful. Is the soil there very hard? Yes, it's harder here than down there. It's loam, so it's a bit hard. The struggle with the hard, rocky soil is a tangible representation of the obstacles they face, but Miss Diep's unwavering optimism, if we work together, it will be more beautiful, transforms the struggle into a shared journey towards a more fulfilling future. Her words are not just about aesthetics, they are about the inherent beauty of shared effort and collective achievement, a powerful testament to the strength found in unity. Their vegetable garden is envisioned as a diverse bounty, reflecting a desire for both sustenance and variety. Do you want to buy many kinds of vegetables? Oh, I can only buy cabbage, kohlrabi, and cauliflower. Oh, and with some mustard greens, we'll probably make more beds. Yes, plant a little more. Oh, and tomato grass. Yes, I really like to eat tomatoes. Tomato and egg soup is also delicious. What kind of vegetable is this? Oh, this is cabbage. Why don't you plant it in between this cabbage? This variety, when it rolls, it's very big and has a lot of leaves. If you plant it too quickly, the plant will be stunted. The detailed discussion of plant varieties, their growth patterns, and optimal spacing, if you plant it too quickly, the plant will be stunted, reveals a deep understanding of agricultural principles, passed down through generations. This isn't just gardening, it's a science, and art, a connection to the cycles of nature. The anticipation of tomato and egg soup is a simple, yet powerful, evocation of the joys of home-cooked food, a reward for their labor, and a symbol of the domestic bliss they are striving to create. As the work progresses, Miss Diep continues to assert her determination and capability, even as James offers help. Let me go carry it. I've dug the hole, or let you help me. I can carry it alone. But look at it like this. Can you carry it? Can you really carry it? I can carry it, so I'll go plant the vegetables. We'll rotate it like this. Probably rotate it outwards, right? I can do it. Just go plant the vegetables and let me take care of it. Her refusal of assistance, coupled with her unwavering self-assurance, speaks to her deep-seated independence and strength. She's a woman who not only works hard but also believes fiercely in her own capabilities. This self-reliance is a critical trait for survival and success in challenging environments, where individual fortitude often dictates outcomes. However, as the sun begins its descent, the practicalities of time catch up with them. Do you have a hoe? Here's the hoe. Let me borrow the hoe. You're strong like this, but I think it's late now. Go pick me up. Oh, that's right, I forgot about planting the vegetables. Let me see what time it is. When I'm done, I'll go pick me up. So you finish it for me. I think it's time, so go pick her up. Yes, let me finish it. I'll go pick me up. You finish it. I'll finish it. You finish it. I think it's time. You go pick her up. Yes, let me finish it. I'll go pick her up. You finish it. Go ahead. Yes. Hello, Uncle James. Hello, Nhi. Are you home from school? Yes, The repeated insistence for James to pick me up reveals not only the late hour but also Miss Diep's deep-seated concern for the child, despite the earlier heartbreak. His presence, though now potentially temporary, still holds a significant place in their lives. James's forgetfulness, quickly corrected, underscores the engrossment of their work, a testament to their focus on building. The simple hello he, "Are you home from school?" uttered by James as he greets the child, is a moment of pure, unadulterated joy, a brief return to the innocence that began our story. It is a powerful reminder that amidst all the adult complexities, the well-being and happiness of the child remain paramount. He, the central figure whose earlier potential departure cast such a long shadow, is now back, if only for the moment, after school. He, rest, yes, my daughter. Do you have fun at school today? Yes, Uncle James, why didn't you come up to play with me yesterday? Oh, yesterday Uncle James was busy. Today Uncle James came again. Yes, I'll tie it again. Just to be sure, I only need to tie one point in the middle. I'll tie that point too. Yes, okay, Miss Diep, do you need my help? Miss Diep didn't ask me for anything. Go inside. Sit down for a moment, we'll cook rice to eat. Yes, go inside. Go sit down and play, Uncle James and Miss Diep will finish this part and we'll be done. The exchanges are simple, tender, and revealing. Miss Diep addresses me as my daughter, a term of endearment that underscores the enduring bond, irrespective of biological ties or legal arrangements. His innocent query to James, "Why didn't you come up to play with me yesterday?" highlights her comfort and affection for him, painting a picture of a broader community that embraces her. James's explanation of being busy is gently accepted. The adults, meanwhile, return to their task of securing the fence, a metaphor for strengthening the boundaries and foundations of their shared future. Miss Diep's instruction for he to go inside. Sit down for a moment, we'll cook rice to eat is a classic gesture of nurturing, promising food and rest after school. It's a return to normalcy, a reassertion of the domestic rhythms that provide comfort and stability. The promise that Uncle James and Miss Diep will finish this part and will be done not only sets a tangible goal for their labor but also implicitly includes he in their collective future, even if her presence is still held with a fragile, hopeful grip. This moment of domesticity, woven into the larger narrative of economic endeavor, serves as a powerful reminder of the ultimate purpose of their hard work, to create a secure and loving home. As the evening settles, he, with the boundless energy and curiosity of a child, tries to contribute to the ongoing work. Yes, he. Yes, he, I'm sweeping the house, yes. Oh, you've worked so hard for he, that's right, sweeping like this is right, Uncle James, just hold it. Your hand is like this, right like this. This hand is a little higher. Hold it like this, then you use force. This hand, you push and push like this. With your hand, you hold it firmly like this. Her attempts at sweeping, clumsy yet well-intentioned, are met with a mixture of gentle guidance and affectionate amusement from the adults. Miss Diep's instruction, detailing the proper technique, is not a reprimand but an invitation to learn, to participate in the chores of the household. It's an informal education in the responsibilities of domestic life, subtly imparting the values of diligence and contribution. The contrast between his innocent eagerness and the adult's protective instincts is palpable. Why are you suddenly sweeping the house? Because I want to help Uncle James and Miss Diep. Okay, let Uncle James sweep later. This broom is very heavy, go out. Go sit down and play, sit still there. Uncle James will finish in a moment. Uncle James will come back here and sweep. Pull it out to sea. James, recognizing the physical demands of the task, gently redirects he, prioritizing her safety and childhood over her desire to help. This broom is very heavy, go out. Go sit down and play. His words are kind but firm, allowing her to retain her sense of helpfulness while ensuring she isn't overwhelmed by adult labor. This interplay of innocence and protective care is a beautiful illustration of healthy familial dynamics, where love manifests as both encouragement and safeguarding. The scene, full of simple dialogue and action, beautifully encapsulates the enduring spirit of community, the intergenerational transfer of knowledge, and the profound, protective love that binds them all together, creating a tapestry of warmth and belonging. The final touches on the fence are crucial, demanding precision and collaboration. Is it missing? No, just tie it tight and then I'll pull it, but I need someone to help. Please hold it here, girl, don't sweep anymore, let Uncle James sweep later. Can you hold it down there? Yes, no. I'll hold it up here for you. Here, I'll put the black tea down and leave it for now. Each time I make a different hole, here he can't see it. Even in the final moments of their work, he is still present, albeit now a bystander. James's need for assistance, I need someone to help, underscores the collaborative nature of their project, and Miss Diep's ready offer, I'll hold it up here for you, speaks to their seamless teamwork. The mention of black tea, a simple refreshment, is a testament to the brief pauses that punctuate hard labor, moments of simple pleasure and shared humanity. The almost conspiratorial whisper, "He can't see it," suggests a desire to shield the child from the more arduous or dangerous aspects of their work, preserving her innocence for as long as possible. It is a quiet act of love, ensuring that her world remains one of play and wonder, even as adults tirelessly build the foundations for her future. As dusk deepens, he, observant and caring, offers a gesture of appreciation for their tireless efforts. Uncle James and Aunt Diep, are you tired? Let me pour you some drinks. Uncle James thanks he. Her innocent question and subsequent offer of drinks highlight her empathy and growing awareness of the world around her. James's simple thanks is a moment of genuine warmth, acknowledging her thoughtfulness. It's a small, yet profound, exchange that reaffirms the bonds of affection within this makeshift family, showing that even amidst their struggles, gratitude and kindness continue to flourish. The day's efforts, both physical and emotional, begin to yield fruit, metaphorically and literally. Yes, so we're going to have vegetables to eat soon. Did the teacher teach you anything new today when you go to school? Yes, I'll tell Aunt Diep tonight. Yes, that vegetable garden is for his husband to eat. Doesn't he like to eat vegetables? Yes, I'll raise a few more chickens later. Let he eat chicken feet. The promise of vegetables to eat soon is a tangible reward for their labor, symbolizing self-sufficiency and the simple joys of a homegrown meal. Ms. Diep's gentle inquiry about his school day reinforces her ongoing care for the child's well-being and intellectual growth, even as the shadow of her potential departure still looms. The humorous, affectionate comment about the vegetable garden being for his husband to eat playfully looks far into his future, a testament to the dreams and aspirations the adults hold for her, even as her immediate path remains uncertain. The promise of raising a few more chickens and letting he eat chicken feet is another expression of nurturing, a practical and loving gesture aimed at providing for the child's future comfort and enjoyment. These simple visions of sustenance, comfort, and a playfully imagined future, underscore the deep wellspring of hope and resilience that fuels this quiet community, illustrating how, even after profound loss, the human spirit persistently seeks to build, to grow, and to nurture.